I'm in one of the most fascinating but least explored corners of Asia. When most people think of this part of the world, they think of this, which is probably why very few Westerners come here. In fact, this is exactly why I never had any intention of visiting until just a few months ago. But venture beyond the hustle and bustle of the modern city, and you'll discover a land full of intriguing history, stunning architecture, centuries-old customs, forgotten cultures, and some of the most breathtaking scenery in Asia.
The Portuguese called it Ihla Formosa, the beautiful island, but you know it's at Taiwan.
Taiwan lies in the western Pacific, about 100 miles east of mainland China. Though in practice the island has all the aspects of a sovereign nation, officially it is a province of the People's Republic of China. I'll begin my journey in Tamsui. I'll then travel to Yalu and Keelung before exploring the picturesque hillside villages of Taiwan's Gold Country. From there I'll travel south to Shifen before heading to Pinglin to learn about the island's tea industry. I'll then head to Taipei where I'll catch a train to Hualien to explore the spectacular Taroko Gorge. For the final leg of my journey I'll return to Taipei where I'll catch a bullet train to the modern port city of Kaohsiung. My Taiwanese adventure begins about 8 miles outside of Taipei, in the historic fishing town of Tamsui. Tamsui sits at the mouth of the Tamsui River. The original Aboriginal inhabitants of this area named it Hoba, meaning stream's mouth. The current name translates to fresh water. Established by the Spanish in 1629, Tamsui was the first major European settlement in northern Taiwan. In 1642, the Spanish were expelled by the Dutch. Then, after the Opium War of 1854, the Qing dynasty was forced to open an international trade network which would be managed by the British. By the mid-19th century, Tamsui had become the largest port in Taiwan. Then, in October of 1884, Chinese soldiers aided by local Aborigines defeated an army of French invaders in what would become known as the Sino-French War. But the local forces were no match against the Japanese, who took over the town and island in 1895. It would remain under Japanese rule until the end of World War II. Sections of the town were also hit by American bombs during World War II. After decades of conflict, peace has finally come to this little corner of Taiwan, and these days thousands of tourists come from all over to sample its unique food and glance at some of the island's finest colonial architecture. I arrived via the Taipei Metro.
Just arrived in the town of Tamsui, and this area we're in right now is called the Tamsui Cultural Park. You can see it's a bit run down because this was originally a storage warehouse for a British tea company. And then in 1897 it was leased by the Royal Dutch Shell Company. And that's right, the same shell you're thinking of. In 1990, the company sold it to the city of Tamsui, who restored the original warehouse buildings to their original look. If you're concerned I am standing in the middle of some train tracks, don't be. These aren't in use anymore. In fact, these are the old train tracks that ran through the warehouse, and they were used as a source of distribution by both the British tea merchants as well as the Dutch oil company. They could either ship their product out by rail or by boat using the river. It's just before 9 a.m. right now. I've only been here for 30 minutes and already I'm sweating really hard. And we have these small crabs running around. Oh, one just went into that hole right there. Oh, there it is. All throughout the city we have these small temples. Right behind me you can see the Fuyu Temple. It was built in 1796 and is the oldest temple in the city. It's dedicated to the sea goddess Matsu, one of the most revered goddesses in the Taoist religion in Taiwan. The locals here believe that Matsu's power is so strong that she actually helped them win a battle against the French in 1884. Oh wow, this is cool. We seem to have stumbled upon a military dependent village, which were these squatter settlements set up in the late 40s and early 50s by Kuomintang refugees. In the 70s, the government started tearing them down. The local artists began painting them in an effort to get them preserved as cultural sites. Today, only 170 of the original 880 remain, some of which are still inhabited. In downtown Tamsui. Behind me is a bust of Dr. George Leslie Mackay. He's really famous in this region. He was born in Ontario, Canada, in what was then British Ontario, and he's really important to the history of Taiwan because he was the one responsible for introducing Christianity to the island. And he first arrived here on New Year's Eve of 1871 and lived here up until his death in 1901. He was not only known for his religious contributions, but also for his medical research, education, and anthropological research. Right over there in between these two buildings, you can see one of the Presbyterian churches that he was responsible for starting. We're going to head over there next. Taiwan is a predominantly Taoist country, so most of the religious buildings you'll see here are Taoist temples. So it's really interesting to see a church. This specific church you see behind me is a Presbyterian church that was built in 1931 to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Dr. Mackay's arrival on Taiwan. This is probably the most famous church in all of Taiwan. This building right here is actually the old hospital where Dr. Mackay conducted his research. This building you see behind me is known as the Little White House. It's the former residence of the Tamsui Tax Division Customs, and it was built in 1875 during the British rule. This is Tamsui's famous and beautiful Ihla University. It was founded in 1882 by Dr. Mackay, and to this day it's still a private Presbyterian university. Previously I had said the name of this university is Ihla College, and that's true, but as you can see from the sign behind me, it's also called Oxford College. And Oxford College is actually the original name of this school, given by Dr. Mackay, who named it after the county in Ontario where he lived. The new name of the college, Ihla, is actually the Greek word for truth, and that's a reference to the university's religious connection. Today, this is still one of the oldest universities on Taiwan. This beautiful structure behind me is one of the finest and most famous examples of colonial architecture on Taiwan. It's Fort Santo Domingo, and the current fort we see was built in 1644 by the Dutch, and they replaced an earlier Spanish fort in 1629. Because the Spanish were here, the Dutch actually named the fort Fort Antonio. The locals renamed it Hang Mao Castle, which in the local Hokkien dialect translates to Castle of the Red Heads in reference to the red-haired Dutchman who came. The fort later fell under the control of the Zhang and Qing dynasty, and then eventually the British. And it was actually the British who gave it its current red color. Today the island is no longer under colonial rule, so the fort proudly flies the flag of Taiwan. This building is the former British consular residence. It was built in 1891.
Which way now?
Behind is the Iteki Memorial House, and Iteki translates to drop of water, but not in Mandarin or Hokkien. It's actually a Japanese name. It's actually constructed in Japan, and the Japanese actually gave it to Taiwan as a gift to show friendly diplomacy between the two countries. One interesting thing about Taiwan is that there were so many cultures and colonial powers that passed through here that you can see examples of architecture from different nationalities. I haven't seen these little egret birds all around the island. They're a little different than what we have back home. Behind me is Hobe Fort, also known as Hawaii Fort, and it was constructed in 1886. This was part of a series of forts constructed during the reign of the Qing dynasty after the First Sino-French War. Now the fort's local name, Beimin Suyao, translates to key to the north gate, because this fort guarded the north entrance to Taiwan. The fort later served as a training ground for Japanese soldiers during their occupation of Taiwan. Now, when the Japanese occupied this island and used this fort, they actually melted down its original cannons so they could never be used against them. But they also made several additions to the fort. This building is the New Taipei Martyr Shrine. This was originally the site of a Japanese Shinto shrine, but after World War II, when the Japanese were kicked out of Taiwan, the Taiwanese people built their own shrine here on the site to commemorate the brave soldiers who died defending their home from the Japanese. Here are the names of all those soldiers who lost their lives fighting the Japanese. Oh, that's interesting. I've never seen skyscrapers built on hillsides before. This is the historic Customs Wharf part. Alright, here we have some traditional fishing boats from the area. Right here we have a boat building area. Ja to nie czy stopy czyszczą.
Hello, what can I get for you?
Yeah, welcome to Taiwan. Thank you. Where are you come from? USA. USA. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. It's good.
Yeah.
A little strong but good.
Yeah. Ali Shan. Ali Shan. Ali Mountain. Mountain.
Oh, Alishan, yeah, yeah. Welcome, welcome.
Give me, I take you picture.
Oh, we just got hit with this huge downpour. We were gonna visit the Yuan Temple 4 miles outside of Tamsui, but we got hit with this huge downpour. So I think we'll just head back to Taipei.